Good evening, everybody, or good afternoon, to be more correct. This is one of those uncomfortable subjects and topics that I have to talk about. That I need to talk about. I feel it was essential for me to talk about it, and it was because I was up all night yesterday. I didn't get any sleep, and yeah, this was just on my mind. Um, and yeah, it's about the Tulsa, Oklahoma, Black Wall Street massacre that took place, I believe, in 1921. Um, it was basically a bombing that they say it was a white mob in Tulsa that did it. It was like bombings, and they basically eradicated an entire society of black businesses. Now, shortly after slavery, um, in Tulsa, Oklahoma, was established by a group of black people, was what is known as the Black Wall Street. This was in Tulsa, Oklahoma, and the Black Wall Street, before it was bombed in 1921, it was a black community that was professional. It had grocery stores, it had banks, it had hospital. I believe it had hospitals. It did have hospitals. I want to say it had multiple though. They had surgeons, they had pharmacies and pharmacists. Anything you could think of, they had it. Movie theaters, businesses, restaurants, and they were thriving. They were doing pretty well. Um, this was shortly after slavery, and this was a huge it showed the potential of how black people could overcome things and establish businesses and thrive. Uh, Unfortunately, this came to an end in 1921 when there was a bombing that took place. Now, word of mouth, I was always taught that the government was involved in it. However, I don't know. I did research, and Google says that the research that I came across, the official research says that the government had nothing to do with it. They said it was like basically, in summary, a white mob that was just racist. Personally, I don't know. Only God knows, and only the people that were involved know. So eyewitnesses would, I heard some say that they did see airplanes that helped bomb the society, the businesses, the banks, that whole neighborhood or society, if you will. However, research that you look at, that's official, that's online, like on Google, is going to tell you that the airplanes were there, but they didn't participate in bombing. Like, they're going to say they didn't participate in bombing. So who knows? Who knows? That's my honest opinion. Is who knows? But this was an ugly thing that happened in an ugly history. Along with the many things that happened in this country, um, specifically to black people. Specifically to black people. There were children that died, of course, and there were adults that died. Children that died and adults that died. That Black Wall Street, it never, from my research and understanding, I believe that it was never recovered. Meaning, it wasn't like funds or anything that was created to give black people back these businesses, and unfortunately it was just a case of bombed and it's gone. And the reason why I think about it is because I'm really big on black people these days being accountable, because I see a lot of black people. I don't think that black people or anybody at all should steal, right? Like, when I see like how lost a lot of my people are. I grew up in Los Angeles, and when I see like crime being on TV and everything, and people looting in these stores, I think a lot of things, like, of course, embarrassment, but I passed the state of embarrassment because I look at it like I'm more of an individual and I'm, accountable for myself. And I always say, like, man, like, even though, there were things that happened in this country, I feel that we should still represent ourselves a little better. And I feel that we should have no excuse, even though we were like wrong did. However, like thinking about it, it's like, and it's not giving an excuse for, like the behavior and like how we haven't, had much growth as a collective, as a race and ethnicity. I think about it and it's like, what would the impact have been on us had Black Wall Street still have been established? I believe that destroyed, like them destroying that. I feel that to a degree they can't complain about the behavior that was created because of it, right? Because black people haven't had an image or something that they could look up to, that we could look up to where a majority of us would see like, oh, we could do that and promote generational good behavior and generational um, wealth, being passed down. Like that was unfortunately taken away from us in Tulsa, Oklahoma, Black Wall Street bombing, the Black Wall Street Massacre. So I'm just curious. I don't want to keep this video long, but I'm just curious. What do you guys think about that tragedy? Do you feel like, I'm always mixed when I try not to get into politics, but I got created this YouTube to get a little bit into politics and to talk about these things because we need to talk about it. Do you think that black people are excused because, or do you think that they have, for a better way to put it, do you think that they have an excuse for, our kids and, like our uncles and parents or anybody who has been displaying like these looting behaviors and stuff? Do you think that they have an excuse because things like Tulsa, Oklahoma did happen, and like and I believe there were other similar stories of similar things that happened? Or do you think that we should still continue to, do you think that we still should say like no excuse, even though it did happen, we still should know better? I personally think we still should know better, but that story has been keeping me up at night. That story has been keeping me up at night. I would even love to know white people or other ethnicities opinions on this. In black communities, we always see like the liquor stores and owned by black people. Is predominantly owned by like Indian people, and I'm not telling you guys to think negative of that. Indian people have every right to be about their business, or different people from different countries, Asians. It's not their fault. Of course, black people don't have like much ownership, if any. And like you can even think about like redlining, if you guys know what that is. It's when like in the 40s, 50s, or somewhere around there, where like collectively they were agreeing not to sell homes to black people, and they called it redlining. Like good homes, they wouldn't sell it to black people. So like I want to hear everybody's opinion on this, and I want you to also do your own research on it and tell me if you knew about it. Tell me if you didn't know about it. How do you feel about it? How does it make you feel? Do you feel like if those things didn't happen, that black people, our mindset would be different? Like I said, do you excuse behavior or do you not excuse behavior? Tell me if I sound like offensive. I'm not giving nobody an excuse. I'm not giving the people that are responsible for the bombing an excuse, and I'm not giving my black people an excuse for like bad behavior. But like you could say that there's a cause and effect. So yeah, like, comment, subscribe, share, turn on that notification. Tell me what you guys think about it, man. I would love to hear not just black people, but I would love to see a lot of black people commenting, and mostly black people comment. But I also love to see different ethnicities and different cultures also comment on it. Tell me if you knew about these stories or if you didn't. Or if you want to comment before you did your own research and then comment after you did your research to tell me, like, I want to know how you guys honestly feel about this, especially knowing the history of black people, being enslaved in America. Like, if this happened to you guys, and then let's say that you guys are in my shoes where you see like your people that have been enslaved and the communities that they did build, have been like burnt down. How would you feel if you like look at it now and see like, oh, they're turning to crime and whatnot? Like I said, like, comment, subscribe. I hope you guys don't take this. If you guys didn't know about these stories, I hope you guys don't take this story and make it turn into hate, because it's easy to get pissed off, if I'm being honest, once you learn more about this story, and especially when you already know about slavery. Control your emotions while you're doing this. Life as a black person, it's so hard, and it's like you gotta learn to control your emotions, and you gotta realize that there is a God. And I know it sounds crazy. I know it sounds like, I know y'all don't want to hear this right now, but God lets everything happen for a reason, and you got to be maintained and trust God's plan, even if our ancestors had to sacrifice, and some of us have to sacrifice. Communication is a key. Patience is a key. Self-control is a key, and controlling your emotions is a key. But like I said, communication is a key. That's why I want to open up this conversation and gate of communications. Like, comment, and subscribe. Peace out. Have a good day.